Are you looking for your dream job? Have you been applying for job after job and getting nowhere? Or maybe you haven't been applying at all because you'd rather deal with the devil you know than the one you don't know. Maybe you're content where you are, but wonder if there's something better for you out there. If you answered yes to any of these questions, then this episode is for you. I'm going to share with you the secret to finding your dream job, and it's easier than you think. Welcome to the Stay-at-Home Nurse Podcast. I'm your host, Deanna Cooper Gillingham. For over 25 years, I've strived to use my nurse credentials to find work that fit my lifestyle, whether it was raising my 4 children and 3 fur babies, traveling the world, or moving to Mexico and living on the Caribbean Sea. Sometimes I succeeded, and sometimes I failed, but I always learned from the experience. Now, I want to help you by sharing what worked and what didn't work. There are so many opportunities out there for nurses today. The Stay-at-Home Nurse Podcast will inspire and equip you to have a nursing career that is meaningful and supports your lifestyle. Now let's get started. Recently, I have seen numerous posts on social media by people applying for over 100 jobs and still not getting the position they want. If this is you, stop. Before you apply for another job, listen to this episode. The best way to get a job you hate is with the spray and pray approach, applying for every work-from-home job with an opening just to get away from the bedside, or applying for every opening in your geographical area because you're desperate. Desperation stinks, and good employers, the ones you want to work for, will not hire desperate. They want qualified people who will fit in well with their current team and embrace the company culture. You may be asking, what is this company culture you speak of? Company culture includes the mission, vision, and values of the company, what they do, why and how they do it, who they serve, the direction they are going in, and what's important to them. The secret to finding your dream job is to know what you want, and to do the research needed to find the company whose culture will give you what you want. Let's look at some examples of company culture. Perhaps one of the most well-known examples is Zappos. They offer new hires monetary incentives to leave the company. They do this because they only want people working for them that really want to be there, people who get the bigger picture and want to be part of something bigger, not someone who just wants a job. A better example may be to compare two well-known companies, Walmart and Publix. Walmart is known as the low-cost leader. Publix, on the other hand, believes in treating customers like royalty. I used to go to the Walmart by my house, and every time I would complain. Items were out of stock. There was no checkout aisles open on one side of the store, and you had to walk all the way to the other side. If I couldn't find an item, I would walk around the huge store aimlessly trying to find it, and if by some chance I saw an employee and asked them where to find the item, 9 times out of 10, they had no idea. 10 minutes into town was a Publix. There, they had people walking around the aisles asking if you needed help finding something. They would open a new checkout lane if a line formed. They had baggers who carefully packed your groceries and took them to your car and packed them neatly in there. Walmart prioritized low cost. Publix prioritized the customer experience. Neither would change for me, but I had a choice. Don't expect the company you work for to change its culture for you. Instead, find a company who has the culture you will thrive in. Before you can know what your dream company or job looks like, you need to know what you want, what you need, and what you value. Do you want to work for a company that values innovation, or one that likes to stick with the tried and true? Ask yourself, are you always thinking of ways to do things better and want to work in an environment where you can see these ideas come to life? Or are you frustrated every time something on your unit changes? Is work-life balance important to you? Or are you looking to climb the career ladder and willing to put in the extra time necessary? Are you all about customer service and want to work for a company who values the extra time you take to make sure your patient is satisfied? Or do you love a challenge and have a competitive nature where you would thrive in an environment where you are incentivized for meeting certain metrics? It's important to understand, none of this is good or bad. It just is. It's important to know what you need now, and that may look very different from what you needed in the past, or what you will need in the future. Once you know what you need, you can begin researching hospitals, companies, and organizations. Look for those that align with your values, goals, and needs. These are the organizations you would be happy working for. I didn't always know this. I had to learn it the hard way. I was desperate when finding my first 3 jobs. I thought I hated nursing, but actually I love nursing. I remembered that I loved nursing school. I loved taking care of my patients. I loved learning and growing in the profession. I did not love the environment I was working in as a nurse. I did not realize it at the time, but the company cultures did not align with my needs, values, and goals. I finally learned about company culture when I had the opportunity to move out of the state. I interviewed and was offered my choice of 3 positions at a large teaching hospital 9 hours away. I was excited to be part of the organization where I would be challenged to grow in my profession. But unfortunately, this was not the right time for my family. So reluctantly, I turned down the position. A little over a year later, my friend called to tell me about another hospital system in the same town. She had worked for both, and that hospital system was coming to Pittsburgh to recruit nurses. She convinced me to just go talk to them. This company had a completely different culture from the one I had interviewed with a year before. The woman who interviewed me was the manager of the L&D unit, and that's where I had always wanted to work. She had just filled her last 2 open positions with graduate nurses and promised me that if I accepted a position in one of her ICUs, I could transfer to her L&D unit after a year. I always wanted to work in ICU. I so wanted to jump at the opportunity, but I shared with her my concern for moving my young family so far away. She shared with me that the company culture was very family-friendly. She had conducted interviews with babies playing on a blanket on the floor in her office. This really impressed me. She assured me that she was a mom and understood that we are moms first and nurses second. She invited me and my family, my husband at the time and 3 children at the time, had another one later, to come and visit the hospital. She would put us up in an apartment and let me visit the hospital and the units and let my family visit the city. I ended up taking the position and was extremely happy working there. True to her word, after a year, I got my dream position in L&D. By that time, I was so happy in my current position in ICU, it was really a tough decision to leave. But L&D was my dream job, and I had to take that opportunity. I loved my time at that hospital. I was very happy. But then it was time to move again. By this time, I had learned about company culture. The city I was moving to had several hospitals to choose from, ranging from large academic institutions to smaller community hospitals. This was before the internet was as fast and informative as it is today. So although I could do some research online, I also asked my network about the various hospital cultures. Based on the information I received, I was able to narrow it down to 2 hospitals. And as luck would have it, I was able to do a travel assignment at one of them. This was a great way for me to try out the hospital without committing. After working my 13-week travel assignment, I ended up accepting a position at the other hospital. Again, I was very happy there. It's important to mention that the company culture is not just related to the hospital system and management. It also determines your coworkers. These hospital systems hired people who aligned with their company culture. My coworkers were also people who shared my values. Once you decide where you want to work, you need to work on getting the job there. Don't wait for an opening. If there are job postings for positions you're interested in, great, go ahead and apply. But if they're not, don't let that stop you. Many positions are filled before they ever are posted. Some organizations have to post all open positions even if they have a candidate in mind. And many others fill positions without ever listing them. Find out who the manager or director of the department or unit you want to work on is. This can be done by using your network or by searching their website or LinkedIn. Then reach out to them. Let them know you're interested in working for them and why. All the research that you've done on their company culture, make sure you throw that in there. Highlight what attracted you to them and why you think you would be a great fit. Also, tell them how you will add value to their team and organization. And finally, attach your CV or resume. If you don't hear anything, don't let that stop you. Wait an appropriate amount of time and reach out again, letting them know that you know they're busy and your previous communication may have gotten lost. Share all of the same information again, making it easier for them to not have to go back and find your old email. You can keep doing this, letting them know that if they don't agree that you would be a great fit, to reply back letting you know, and you'll stop contacting them. After not receiving a reply from a hiring manager, I have even reached out and called them. This resulted in an impromptu interview and job offer. Remember, these people are busy. By reaching out to them, you're making it easy for them. And finally, remember, interviews work both ways. Remember, you are interviewing them just as much as they are interviewing you. If you have done your job well, selling yourself as the ideal candidate, they will be selling themselves to you. Most people hate to answer the question, "Do you have any questions for me?" at the end of the interview. What do you ask? Here are some examples. Ask how they ensure the mission, vision, and values are held to in their organization. Ask them specific questions related to the specific mission, vision, and/or values that are important to you, such as, "I noticed your company values work-life balance. How is this demonstrated?" Or, "Your company is known for innovation. Can you tell me about some recent innovation that you've implemented?" Or, "Customer service is important to your organization. How do you measure this?" If you're looking to move up, ask, "What are some opportunities for growth within your organization?" There you have it, the secret to landing your dream job. It's really as easy as 4 steps when you think about it. Figure out what's important to you now. Research hospitals, companies, and organizations to discover their culture. Think outside the box with this one. There are many opportunities for nurses outside of hospitals. Don't limit yourself. 3. Reach out to the managers of the departments in the organizations you identified as ones you would like to work for. And 4. Interview them. If you have enjoyed this episode of the Stay at Home Nurse Podcast, please leave a rating and review. And if you have a friend who would benefit from hearing it, please share it with them. Until next time, adios from beautiful Puerto Aventuras, Mexico.